The Gathering Storm by Brandon Sanderson and Robert Jordan. This was pretty crazy. Like, this is crazy good. I'm not going to put it ahead of Knife of Dreams. I think Knife of Dreams is a better all-around book. But some of the parts of this book are some of the best Wheel of Time I've ever read. Alright, so this is a spoiler review, and yeah, I'm going to be going into the characters. I mean, I don't know how you'd watch a spoiler-free review for the 12th book in a series, but, I mean, I'm basically spoiler-free. What I got to tell you is Brandon Sanderson does a great job. And that's all for the spoiler-free people. That's really just, like, Brandon Sanderson keeps it up. I don't really think that any quality, even though there's a difference, I can tell that this is a Brandon Sanderson written book with some Robert Jordan content. Obviously, this is very Robert Jordan-esque, even though I can tell Brandon Sanderson wrote this book. Alright, so now I'm a spoiler. I'm going to talk about one thing before, and then I'm going to go through characters by character, and yeah. Alright, so spoilers, one thing I need to talk about is the undulating. If you watched that Murphy Napier video, the word undulating, and then I would just watch that right before I started this book, and then, dude, I found like 10 examples of the word undulating in here, and I couldn't stop laughing anytime they said that. And I just, one thing random thought I had when I was reading this book, like, undulate much? Like the wind was undulating. It was so funny after watching the Sean Astin thing. But that's just a little reference. I'm going to be starting the characters, and definitely Egwene stands out in this book. All of Egwene's character arc, I think this is the best Wheel of Time character arc throughout one book I've ever read. I think Knife of Dreams was good in general. It was just better all around. But what I read from Egwene was some of the best I've ever read from the Wheel of Time. We find her where we left off last book, in the being a novice, because Elida is not being nice to her, and she's kind of learned to accept this pain. At this point, she's laughing every time she's getting whipped. And that's, like, again, this is a whole thing in its own. She's being a much the bigger person in here by far when Elida's being a jerk, when she's not the true Armelin seat, and it's really Egwene. And she kind of just takes it. She starts laughing. She's been used to it. She's taking advice from Aiel and stuff like that, of not showing pain. And she's learning how to not show pain out loud or out in the open, and it's like that's already a cool thing in itself, and that's what was happening in Knife of Dreams. But what happened in this book elevates it. This is insane. What happens is, like, she kind of the main thing that happens is she's hosting, or like she's dinner, like she's like serving them dinner with a bunch of Aja of Elida, and Egwene basically exposes her. Like, roasting her. Like, Elida was trying to attack back. She was telling her that's not fair, that's not legal. You can't ban an entire Aja, for goodness sake. Like, she was basically telling her, and Elida got pretty mad and started using the power, which is unfair because Egwene, she was like being dosed with Forkroot, which is unfair. If you're a novice, you gotta be pretty bad in the power, but Egwene was like super strong, and they're using Forkroot, which I feel like is super unfair. Like, it's not right whatsoever. They're just doing mean things to her, and like Elida almost gets deposed for this, like almost, like very close. And Egwene is like much better than she is, and at many times she's offered to escape being a novice, like, because like they stop her from being a novice and just work chores all day, so she doesn't like talk with other people, convince her that she's the real Armelin. So she just makes her do chores all day, and then like the person on the head of the kitchen lets her, like, okay, you can go here, and Egwene says, no, I don't want to, because that'll be giving up my power over Elida by showing everyone that I couldn't do this. But doing this actually helped her, which that showed a lot of maturity from Egwene. And this is like so different, as like the difference, as you can see how different that this role is from older Egwene, how she grows so much. And that really just shocked me. Like, that was really beautiful. And at the end of the book, when Shan Chan attack the tower, Sean Chan are just totally jerks. Like, Wetlanders and other people, basically everyone is focused on the last battle. Sean Chan, they just want to fight. And they're still capturing and chaining Damani. Elida actually gets chained as a Damani, which is, like, I should feel bad for anyone else, but I hate Elida. Elida is the absolute worst. She's just the jerk. I have no sympathy for her whatsoever. She's the Dolores Umbridge of the Wheel of Time universe. She absolutely sucks. I need a rant video on how much I hate Elida, which is a good thing, because I tell you, if I hate a character, you're doing something right. Now, Robert Jordan actually set up this hate for Elida a long time ago, but this is where it paid off, where my hate was like, yeah, get him. You know, and I had no care whatsoever when she got chained by Damani. Like, and anyone else, like, even Black Aja, I would like, oh, I feel bad for them. Like, but no, like, she's terrible. And at the end, Egwene actually becomes Amerlin. Like, officially, not by the rebels, but she's like the official Amerlin. Kind of basically because she was the only one everyone could agree on, and not like because she's of no Aja. But she's still Amerlin, which counts as something, right? So Varen Sedai, who was actually Black Aja, but she was a double agent for the Black Aja, which is just the coolest thing. She poisons herself and gives her a list of all the Black, which I feel like is something very noble to do. Join the Black, and then like kind of sacrifice your life to give all the names of the Black away, which is very, very noble of Varen to do, and I really liked her as a character because of this. And so basically they snitch out, and like Egwene is forced to like find everyone, like everyone who's Black, even though a lot do get away. So I've talked about Egwene enough. I love Egwene's part in this book. This is my favorite arc. Just like, I'm so happy for Egwene. Egwene is one of my favorite characters now after this. And Avienda is the next character I'm going to go into. She's just being punished, and she doesn't know why. And it's so funny because how different these Aiel are from Aes Sedai. She's being punished. She has no idea why. It gets worse and worse, which is hilarious. Because her form of awful punishment is to do something that's useless, like moving water from one bucket to another, something like that, or moving like stones, I'm pretty sure. And then like, because like her useless punishment is more of an insult because they're not helping. And she doesn't know why. But actually, when she stands up to the other Aiel to be, like, to the wise ones, and, like, it's like, why? Say, you know, why? And then that's what they say, what took you so long? Because Aiel need to stand up. And that's unlike Aes Sedai. Like, Aes Sedai are totally different. Like, and you can see that here. Like, these people are different. And that's just really, really, really interesting. Because how the difference is insane. I just thought that was really interesting. Because, like, why would something just be so different? And then I was very confused. But then I realized, okay, but then she needs to stand up for herself. And Avienda is one of my favorites. And I'm so glad she did stand up for herself. And she really got what she needed in this book. And it really did justice. And then, like, what's her name? The cell turns to wax. Like, you can tell there's moments in this book, just like the last battle is coming. There's weird stuff in this book. Like, all the town at night just turns to zombies, basically. That was just, like, there's weird stuff. There's just, like, there'll be a chapter, and then just something weird happened, and, like, yeah, the last battle's coming, and then that's the reason. And I'm like, that's cool, you know? Like, the last battle is coming, and that gets me so nervous and so excited. Like, it's gonna be here, which is so scary. Like, I'm like, the last battle's right here, and stressful. It's very stressful for that. And the next character is Elaine. Elaine wasn't in this book. The Wheel of Time does that thing when there's like no people and there's someone's missing in this book. And Elaine just became House Seat of Andor. That's something big happened. And then they skip out. That's something Wheel of Time does, not just Brandon Sanderson. Robert Jordan does it. They just skip out on someone. They're like, snap, they don't exist. But like, there are only mentions of her. But she actually got the high seat of Andor, House Drakand. And yeah, I'm really happy for her, but she's not in this book. Just wanted to point that out. Where's Elaine? She's cool, but no Elaine in this book. And Moraine. There's hints of Moraine coming back. That's insane. I'm like, there's like, oh, Min was wrong about her prediction about Moraine because she's dead. And there's so much little hints that Moraine could be coming back, which I predict that Moraine is coming back. I think, like, they can't keep her away for that long. Like, because there's so many hints. I'm going to say it right here. Moraine is coming back. for my spoiler talk for Memory of Light or Towers of Midnight, I'm going to put this clip in here. Moraine is coming back. That's my prediction. There's so many hints of this. This is has to happen. Because Moraine, I love the hints of Moraine's kind of like freaking out because I miss Moraine so much, especially with the trailers coming out with all Moraine. I'm like, I miss her so much. Like, she was the best character. Like, now, like, a lot of people didn't like her when she was there. Now that she's gone, I've had the fondest memories of her, and it makes me so sad to watch. You know, because, like, now I know I shouldn't have disrespected her, or I shouldn't have thought bad that she was, like, the mom that nobody liked, but now Moraine is, like, the coolest mom I want, you know, but that's just, like, I miss her. She's, like, amazing character, and I hope she comes back. Gavin, who's a character in this book, I didn't care for. I never really cared for Gawain, not Gavin. But she's kind of warded the swan, and he cares about Egwene a lot. And I just never really cared for him. I've never cared about him as a character too much, even though, like, when he was hanging out with warders, that was cool. Like, he would make a good warder, and he's a good warder. And I feel like it's a good warder story, kind of connected, which is fun. I don't have a lot to say on Gawain. And, like, that's all I had, you know, because I had thoughts on Gawain, I just never really cared extremely a lot about Gawain, so I don't have a lot to say about him, but even though I did think he had a good story in this book. Rand. Like, Rand's story scared me. Like, I wouldn't say this is the best, and this is definitely not the most enjoyable, but his story was the scariest. Like, I was legitimately scared on how much Rand al'Thor changes in this book. Like, he is nowhere near this, like, at the Eye of the World Rand. Like, he literally said that the old Rand is dead, and he accepts that. And it's so scary how he accepts that. It's just so scary. Like, he needs to be hard in the last battle. Like, nobody's ever climbed Dragon Mount because they won't have enough energy to climb back. But he wants to do something that takes that energy because he doesn't need to go back. That's scary. I'm scared for Rand. I don't know what's going to happen with Rand. I don't know if he's going to survive the last battle. I don't know if he's going to actually die in the last battle. I am so scared for him. I'm so scared for Min. He chokes out Min with Semirog. He chokes out, Semirog made him, but he chokes out Min, and that was scary for me. Because I legitimately thought Min was a goner at that point. And so he destroys Semirog, wielding this, like, true power, like, another power, and it makes, like he said, it feels like better than Saidin and Saidar, that he cleansed Saidin. But Lews Therin is still talking to him, even though at the end of the book he said he knew Lews Therin would never talk to him again. But, like, he comes in and out. I don't know. Like, he got mad at his father. His father thought, like, he was going to kill him. This is very angry time for Rand. It's, like, very scary. Like, how he handles it is scary good. Like, I'm not, like, saying, like, this wasn't enjoyable because I was so scared for Rand 24/7. At the end, he kind of goes to Dragon Mount. Or he was actually going to go to destroy Shan-Chan. Then he changes his mind. Then he kind of goes to Dragon Mount. And then something big happens. And then he said he laughed for the first time in a long time. Which I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's a crazy person laugh, as like a Lews Therin laugh, or just like a normal laugh, like a normal laugh. He's decided to like be a normal person again. Oh, let's pray one prayer for that happening, but I highly doubt it. But like, hopefully he does, because I love normal Rand. Normal Rand was the best Rand. But now he's like something different, and I respect that because he needs to go to the last battle. But I really, really want to see him back to his full glory as sheep boy Rand, like just not knowing, but now he's a king and he's accepting this tyrannical rule. And unlike other protagonists, like he's like, oh, I don't want to be this, but I have to. But like he kind of starts like that, but he accepts it. He accepts it, and he's no kind ruler at this point. No hand Rand, which I have nicknamed him. Semirog is like, he was the one who like kind of chopped off the hand for No Hand Rand. And now that happened, like she was in chains, she was getting like beaten, but like she wouldn't snitch, she wouldn't tell anything. And the funniest thing happened. Cadsuane spanking Semirog. Like I was legit on the floor laughing. I was rolling on the floor laughing. That was so funny because she was this mean, forsaken, who wouldn't respond to any kind of torture. But when they treat her like a normal person, treat her like a little novice, and like she got mad and she started eating her food when she refused to off the floor. And I couldn't stop. That was the funniest thing I've ever read in the Wheel of Time. Samurai Raw getting spanked and all. Like, I was laughing so hard because like she was such a hardened warrior, and then that happens to her. Cat Sewing totally, boom, like whips her. That made her a lot weaker, and she was like, "I'm gonna kill you." I was like, when she does get out by a black, and she kind of fights Rand, and Rand goes, "You can't hurt me more than I'm already destroyed." And then she proceeds to take over his body and choke out Min. That was just the weirdest thing. Like, I was like, I was scary. I mentioned it before. I was scared that happened. But then he channeled the true power, which is so much stuff. It hints so much. There's another power. And then I feel like they really, really undershadowed it, that there's a completely other power. And they mentioned it once and then a couple times after. And then they didn't mention it enough in this book, in my opinion. I feel like this should be a bigger deal for Rand, that he channeled something that's not Saidin or Saidar. And even though the taint is cleansed, this looks so much more powerful. Or for what he said, like, this is so much more powerful than the other two. And that's scary. Matt was doing something cool. I didn't think Perrin or Matt's were particularly interesting in this book. That's why it wasn't my favorite Wheel of Time book. Perrin and Matt were kind of weak in my opinion. Even though the town with the zombies was really, not zombies, they just went crazy during the night. It was really cool. And Perrin, I'm really disappointed in Perrin right now. He used to be one of my favorite characters, but he hasn't had a great book for me in a long time. With Matt, like with the whole thing, like they went to this town like to restock, and then Matt gambles. The mayor doesn't want it. He wants them to kick it. He has no people after sundown, and they kind of almost, they try to make that rule, but they miss it, and everyone starts trying to kill them. And then they explain in the morning that everyone at night tries to kill each other, and they all just turned back to normal in the morning. And if you spend the night, you're going to be in this pattern. You're all going to end up in your bed in the morning. That's scary. I'm scared that, and they got a near mistake. If they didn't run away enough, they would have been in that pattern forever. The mini pattern, or the glitch in the wheel, I'm pretty sure. But I'm scared. This shows the last battle is so close. And I think he does a great job in hinting the last battle is right around the corner. That's basically the gist of this book. The last battle is right around the corner. And I think it's the Gathering Storm is the perfect name for it, because it's just a storm that's all gathering up, and there's ready. I'm so excited for the Towers of Midnight, but I'm so nervous. I feel like I should wait a little bit, but I'm not gonna wait. You know me. Perrin, I'm disappointed. He used to be top 10, top 5. I would say one of my favorites. Now, I would say Matt is my favorite out of the main 3. Even though Rand is close second. And now Perrin is actually my least favorite. He has Fael back, but he's just basically in camp. He's not doing anything interesting. But Perrin is on the book cover of the next book, or the ebook cover, and that's my favorite artwork ever. If you know me on Discord, that's my Discord logo. It's Perrin, and he's on the cover of the next book, and it looks pretty epic. So that's a good sign for Perrin for me. I'm just gonna hopefully that he's cool in this next book, Towers of Midnight, and he does something really interesting because he has Fael back. I love Fael. She's a great character, but I think their storylines are way too intertwined. I feel like they should be more separate, or they should have more separate storylines, and they're not. Just ever since Shadow Rising, they've been their stories have been hand in hand, and I feel like there needs to be a little more separation. They each should have their own thing, even though there's Fael. Fael has her own secret she's keeping, but still, I feel like there's a little bit too intertwined, and just how obsessed he was when she gone missing. And now that she's back, she's kind of doing the same thing. Not much difference, even though Fael is a great character. Don't get me wrong. I love Fael, but I just would like to see more of her on her own. Nynaeve, Rand shows trust to her, and it just happened. Rand shows trust to her. And I'm shocked because Nynaeve, I've never really been the biggest fan of Nynaeve. But Rand shows a lot of trust to her, and Cat Sewing, she has to go to Cat Sewing because Rand banned Cat Sewing. If I see you again, I'm going to, execute you, which he sounded serious, which, again, shows how scary Rand is. And then, she goes to Cat Sewing, okay, what do you need me to do? I need help. And she goes, find Perrin. Cat Swain's annoying. I never liked Cat Swain either. I think Robert Jordan makes people so I can hate them. Like, you know, I think he makes those people. And then he makes people I love, like Egwene, Avienda, and, like, Rand and Tom, you know? But, like, now he goes... And, like, it's just so confusing. And try to get Tam. That obviously failed quite a bit. And Nynaeve, I like Nynaeve's story. It wasn't really big, but I never think she's had a major role. She's been a main character, but she's never been, you know, like, have, like, her own perfect arc other than just being a great side character and just having her own things to do. The last point I'm going to make is how Brandon Sanderson took this. How Brandon Sanderson, I loved it. I think a lot of notes from Robert Jordan, but I love the writing still fits perfectly with the Wheel of Time. Just he handles action really well. I think, like, the Shan Shan attack on the tower was handled perfectly, and I credit that to Brandon Sanderson. Pardon me if I'm wrong. Like, I don't even know if Robert Jordan wrote that part, but I'm pretty sure Brando Sando wrote that, and the action scenes are handled really well by Brando. And I've read Mistborn and Stormlight by Brandon Sanderson and Warbreaker and Have of Elantris. So I've read Brandon Sanderson. This is my favorite Brandon Sanderson book, but I'm not going to say it's my favorite Brandon Sanderson book because technically it's written by Robert Jordan. But what I noticed about him is he remembers a lot of Otherworld. Like, he has so many references. Oh, remember when we were little? Remember when we were this? That's so much more. Life of Dreams was just like, go. And then here had so many, like, remember this, had so many call back to Eye of the World. I don't know if that was in Robert Jordan's plans or Brandon Sanderson just decided he was going to call back Eye of the World like 90 times. But I was like, like, we're so different. And he, like, it works. Like, I realized how different we are from Gathering Storm to, like, Eye of the World, Great Hunt. We're different. And this is so naturally inclined of the difference of people. And that scares me how different they are. Like, I feel like I want them to be my Eye of the World, like my Eye of the World people again. Like, but I know it's never gonna happen. But I hope Rand laughing is a good sign of, like, the end. Like, he might be a little bit normaler towards the Towers of Midnight and the Gathering, Towers of Midnight and the Memory of Light. Wow, like, this book was a roller coaster. I loved it. If you watched the whole video, comment elf emoji, that fantasy emoji. Like, that's all I have to say. Gathering Storm, perfect. 5 out of 5 stars. Book 12 of the Wheel of Time. I am going to be reading Towers of Midnight in November, and this makes me want to reread The Eye of the World. So I might even reread Eye of the World and read A Memory of Light in December. Wow. This was my favorite Wheel of Time book, and this is beautiful. See you guys in the next video.